Here we are on the Kinloch ferry from Mallaig to the Isle of Rum. We are going to see a building which for me has taken on mythic status. The building is Kinloch Castle, which actually is a hunting lodge built by a fabulously rich Englishman called George Bullough in 3 years from 1897 onwards. There it is in the distance, a dark shape emerging from the mist. This is the Victorian Hunting Lodge on the Isle of Rum. The tales of the construction of Kinloch Castle are legendary. It is built of sandstone which was mined on the Isle of Arran and shipped in by boat after boat. It had 250,000 tons of topsoil imported. It was built by 300 workmen who were paid an average of 5% extra to wear kilts. They were given extra tobacco to ward off the midges and paid to smoke it. There were guest rooms for 20 or 30 people, but the servants had quarters for over 100. When it was built, it had modern plumbing, including airflow control in the billiard room. It had double glazing. It had electricity from the start and a telephone. And it had an orchestrion that mimicked an entire orchestra. That's not all. It had a swimming pool, a squash court, a tennis court, a bowling green, and a 9-hole golf course. And, of course, it had hothouses that housed alligators, turtles and hummingbirds, and they grew grapes, peaches and figs. Even more, it had a Japanese garden, a formal garden and a fernery. And they built roads to test out the fleet of Albion cars that were on the island. It cost £250,000 to build in 1900 money, which is the equivalent of over £30 million today. It is now owned by Scottish National Heritage, and they do a 45-minute tour of a few rooms for £9 each. It's time to meet the Kinloch ferry on a Monday and Wednesday. So let's take the tour. So here we are in the Grand Hall. It's a wood-panelled, twin-height space with a minstrel's gallery, complete with sporting trophies, objects from Japan and paintings. It's all overseen by a picture of George Bullough, painted for his 40th birthday in 1910. He wears all of the clothes of a Scottish lord, although he was completely English. His life revolved around the gentlemanly pursuits of hunting, fishing and shooting, not to mention spending on an absolutely massive scale. Directly below this picture is his wife's, Monica, who was born in 1869. She was a socialite from French extraction and was famously uninhibited. She was divorced from a brewing magnate where George was cited in the proceedings. They married on Rum in 1903 and had a daughter, Hermione, in 1906. Many of the objects on display were imported by George after his prolonged stay in Japan. We have it on good authority that the prolonged absence and tour was a required result of George's inappropriate involvement with his stepmother. The tour takes us into the dining room, which is in many ways a tribute to George's first steam yacht, the 221-foot Roomer, which he bought in 1895. He sailed extensively in the yacht with its crew of 40. During the Boer War, he turned it into a hospital ship, for which he was knighted. Eventually, he sold it as a hulk to the Italian government in 1912. The furniture comes from the ship and the paintings depict it. In 1913, he bought another smaller yacht, which is still in existence. It is now renamed as the Midges and is up for sale for about £7 million. It is absolutely stunning. The tour takes us on to Monica's sitting room and her empire room. Let's listen to the guide for a moment.
In her day, the sort of the field and the woodland here, that was her landscape Japanese garden down both sides of the Corridor Burn over there. So when she was writing at her desk, she would be looking out on the Japanese gardens rather than the sort of the very generic field and wood that we have now. And these double doors could be opened even when it was raining because of the covered walkway. So you could get a feeling of being outside even when it was raining, which I think she liked.
The Empire Room pays homage to Monica's French origins. We arrive at the Ballroom. It is designed for ultimate privacy. Drinks are served through a hatch. The band plays behind curtains, and the windows are too high to look into. This is where ladies of the night were brought from Glasgow for the viewing pleasure of the gentlemen. The tour takes us into Monica's bedroom. This is where she is said to have bestowed her favours on many a man, including, it is strongly rumoured, King Edward VII. It is bizarre to see her nude portrait sipping tea on a rug just outside the room, but the rumours have it that this was just a foretaste of the erotic prints that decorated the room. Then we are back in the corridor and on our way out. Our 45 minutes have elapsed. There is a lot we didn't see, presumably because of the state of repair of the building. So, by the wonders of the internet, here are two of the rooms we didn't see. The library and the billiards room. But the big thing we didn't see was the Bullough Mausoleum. George decided that his father John, who had died in 1891 when George was 21, should be buried on the island of Rum. This meant exhuming the body from Christchurch, Accrington, where John wanted to be buried, and transporting him by train to a mausoleum which had been prepared on Rum, and the body was laid there. However, a visiting reporter commented that the new mausoleum looked like a tiled public toilet. George promptly had it dynamited and built a Greek temple mausoleum out of polished sandstone. Here, John, Monica and George lie in separate sarcophagi facing the sea. By all accounts, the location is stupendous. There is a road, but no vehicles to take you, and there's no time. So if you want to see it, you have to stay on the island. And finally, whatever happened to the animals that George imported? The hummingbirds froze when a glass house broke, and they were stuffed, and here they are. George let the turtles go into the sea, where they promptly disappeared. And the alligator escaped, scared the guests, and was shot by George. So, then it's back on the ferry to Mallaig. At the moment, Kinloch Castle hangs between complete dereliction and restoration, which gives it an atmosphere, a vibe, if you will, to absorb and savour. It is caught in that tension. It is a testament to George Bullough, the Edwardian millionaire who delivered his dream. Now it's the time to visit. Thanks for watching.